Good morning, guys. Today you're going to be working on the last portion of your review packet. If you don't have a review packet, you can use a Chromebook, but you need to make sure that you put the Chromebook back in the cart and that you plug it in and that you make sure that that is taken care of. That Chromebook has to be closed up for at the end of the day so that it is kept in a safe place. So you're going to take out your review packet and you're going to go to the last pages of your review. You're going to look at the pages that have all the quotes from Walk Two Moons and then the one about the self-reflection. This is exactly what your final looks like. So because I'm allowing you to work on that today and kind of start to think about what you might say, I'm going to ask that you not talk today to anyone within your class because you could be giving ideas about what to say in your final. So make sure you don't do that. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you 4 examples. I'm going to show you a good example, I'm going to show you an excellent example, I'm going to show you an okay example, and then a bad example of what you would do at this last part of your test. Okay, so here is the portion that I'm talking about where we use the race method. So what you're going to do is you're going to read through all these quotes and you're going to pick one. I picked this one. That doesn't mean that that's the best one. It's just the one that I could think of an answer is in the best way. So you pick any one of the quotes that you think does a good job of explaining and giving an example of author's craft. You have to be able to tell me why that it's used, and it needs to be 4 sentences long, at least 4 sentences long. It can be longer than 7 sentences if you need it to be. You need to make sure that you cite it properly and that you use correct spelling and punctuation. So you want to go ahead and get that all set up now so that on your test day all you have to do is type it in the box. Okay, here's the first example, the best example. So the one that I chose, just to remind you, is for weeks my father and I fumbled around like ducks in a fit. And if you think back to the book, this is in the part where Sal is talking about how her and her dad were whenever they knew her mom wasn't coming back. So here's the best example. The first thing that you do is you establish a sentence that kind of leads you off. And so this sentence really isn't answering the question, but it's just kind of restating the question. Sharon Creech uses excellent examples of author's craft throughout her novel Walk Two Moons. Then the next thing that you do is you go ahead, and you state the quote that you've selected. For weeks, my father and I fumbled around like ducks in a fit. And I said, and I added on, it's a particularly effective use of author's craft. So right here, I've gone ahead and I've come up with the topic sentence, and I've also come up with the quote, but you see I still haven't answered the question. So now I start to answer the question. This line is used to describe how Sal and her father acted once they found out that Sal's mom wasn't coming back. This sentence is a showing sentence. If the reader were to visualize ducks in a fit, he or she would probably think of the duck swimming around in a small circle, making very little movement, feathers flying everywhere. The reader gets a good sense that the family is having a difficult time, and Sal even talked about the dishes piling up in the sink, which is something that usually only happens when the house is in disarray. So this part right here is important because not only did I answer the question, I've also right here gone back and found something specific from the book that I paraphrased and I included to support my evidence. So that's the thing that makes something an excellent answer. This sentence shows how Sal and her dad didn't know what to do with themselves and how they were in a complete paralyzed state. I could even add here to this one that shows exactly what is happening throughout the novel. And Sal is wrestling throughout the novel with what to do with herself now that her mom isn't there. Okay, so hopefully you can tell by that that's an effective example. So once again, topic sentence, list your quote, explain and answer yourself, and if you can support your answer with an answer from the book, with evidence from the book, that's going to be a really great job. Here's a good job. So you started off with a sentence, you include the quote from the book, you say exactly how, you answer the question. But if you notice in this one doesn't provide you with any evidence or reference back to the book, with the exception of the ducks in a fit sentence. So it says, Sharon Creech uses this excellent examples of author's craft throughout her novel Walk Two Moons. For weeks my father and I fumbled around like ducks in a fit is a particularly effective use of author's craft. This line is used to describe how Sal and her father acted once they found out Sal's mom wasn't coming back. This sentence is a showing sentence. If the reader were to visualize ducks in a fit, he or she would probably think of a duck swimming around in a small circle, making very little movement, feathers flying around everywhere. This sentence shows how Sal and her dad didn't know what to do themselves and how they were in a complete paralyzed state. So again, good answer, but just doesn't go back and do what this one did, which was talk about something specifically in the book that supports it. Here's an okay example. This one's going to get you about half credit. You list the topic sentence, you include the quote, and then you say, just real quick, and you barely briefly answer it. This line is used to describe how Sal and her father acted once they found out that the mom wasn't coming back. This sentence is a showing sentence, but it didn't say how it was a showing sentence. It didn't pull anything from the book to support that it was a showing sentence. So this is just a basic answer. And then finally, the bad example. This one doesn't do anything to talk about author's craft, really. For weeks, my father and I fumbled around like ducks in a fit. First of all, there's no topic sentence. They just go right into the quote. Then they say, this sentence is a simile. Yes, it is, but that doesn't tell me how it's a good example of author's craft. Authors should use similes because they say like or as. They make writing better. That's true, they do, but you can tell that on this one, the author of this one doesn't even get into explaining how this quote is important, other than saying that it's a simile. It doesn't do any explanation, not any deep thinking. So you want to make sure that when you're all done, that this is the kind that you try to emulate, that you try to copy, imitate, right? And you cannot use this exact thing. So be sure that you don't have anything that even looks remotely close to mine, that even resembles it closely. Okay, then you're going to go to the last part. So on the last part, you're going to choose 4 of these questions, and you're going to restate the question and write in complete sentences an answer to it. So, for example, if I pick number 1, what is something you accomplished this year that you are proud of? I have to say, something I accomplished, and this is with regards to your e-portfolio, that I was proud of is. Okay, and I want to explain myself. I can't just say something I accomplished that I was proud of is my newspaper article. I haven't explained myself. This one is going to take a couple of sentences for you to reflect and think about each one. So you probably want a paragraph for each one of your 4 questions that you're thinking about. Okay, so you're going to go in and you're going to look at your 4 questions and decide which one that you want to answer, and then go in and answer it. And once you're finished with all of this, then the thing that you can do next is that you could begin to study. Make sure you know those be verbs, awubuses, and fanboys. Make sure you know them really well, and have a good weekend. Talk to you guys on Monday.